The sun had barely begun its climb over the city skyline, golden light spilling into the quiet streets, when Marcus Harlow pushed open the door to his small apartment. The air smelled faintly of morning rain and leftover coffee. He paused for a moment, the soft hum of the city below reminding him that life went on, even when it seemed unbearably heavy. Marcus was a single dad, his life a tightrope walk between late-night shifts at the diner, helping his 10-year-old son, Aidan, with homework, and making sure there was always enough food on the table. Today, though, something extraordinary was about to happen, something he couldn't have imagined even in his wildest dreams. But before I dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one small act can change a life forever, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Touch of Kindness. Every story here reminds us that miracles sometimes arrive disguised as ordinary people. Marcus's morning was like any other until he received a call from the luxury hotel downtown. He barely recognized the number, but something compelled him to answer. On the other end was a calm, commanding voice. "Mr. Harlow? This is Serena Voss. I believe you helped someone last night at the coffee shop." Marcus frowned, unsure. The only thing he remembered was giving an elderly woman his last hot chocolate because she looked cold and tired. He had thought nothing of it. Small kindnesses were part of life. Serena's voice, however, had a distinct edge of authority. "I'm attending an exclusive gala tonight at the Ormond Hotel. Something urgent has come up, and I need someone to accompany me. Just for the evening. It would mean you pretending to be mine." Marcus blinked, the words sinking in. Pretend? Him? Out of all people? A single dad, often harried and underdressed, being asked to step into the world of glitzy wealth and corporate power? Despite the absurdity, something in Serena's voice was oddly vulnerable. A subtle tremor, a hint of desperation. Marcus's curiosity piqued, and, after a long pause, he agreed. The evening arrived, and Marcus found himself staring at his reflection in the cracked mirror of his tiny apartment. He tugged at his ill-fitting suit, straightened his tie, and wondered if he was making the biggest mistake of his life. Aidan's eyes shone with pride as he helped Marcus adjust his cufflinks. "You're going to be amazing, Dad," he said, and somehow those words steadied him. Arriving at the Ormond Hotel, Marcus's world shifted. Crystal chandeliers cast sparkling light across polished marble floors. Waiters in pristine uniforms moved like dancers, and the air was thick with laughter, soft music, and the faint scent of expensive perfume. And there she was, Serena Voss, the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the nation, in a gown that shimmered like liquid silver. But despite her elegance, there was a tension in her posture, a shadow behind her confident eyes. "Marcus," she said, offering a polite smile, "thank you for coming. Just act like you're mine for tonight." Her words were firm but held a strange vulnerability. Marcus, not one to mince words, simply nodded. "I can do that," he said quietly. Then, gathering courage he didn't know he had, he added, "But I'll do it my way. No pretending about who I am." Serena stared at him, surprised. Most people would have agreed to anything without a word. But Marcus wasn't like most people. There was something in his voice that seemed to pierce the polished walls around her. And for the first time in a long while, Serena felt the tension in her chest ease slightly. The gala began, a swirl of glittering dresses and tailored suits, champagne flutes clinking, and laughter echoing against the walls. Serena moved gracefully among the crowd, but she kept returning to Marcus's side. He, in turn, was utterly out of place, yet somehow grounded and genuine. People whispered, curious about the pair, but Marcus simply smiled politely and followed her lead, never overstepping, never pretending. He was just real. As the night deepened, they reached a balcony overlooking the city. The skyline glittered, and a gentle breeze tugged at Serena's hair. She leaned on the railing, eyes distant. "I don't usually invite people like you to these events," she admitted softly, almost to herself. "People who aren't afraid to be themselves. I'm usually surrounded by masks." Marcus looked at her, seeing not the CEO, not the woman whose name adorned headlines and tech magazines, but a person tired of pretense, aching for authenticity. "Maybe," he said, "people like me aren't invited because we make others uncomfortable. We remind them there's a real world outside their glass towers. But maybe that's exactly what's needed." Serena's lips parted slightly, caught off guard by his insight. No one had ever spoken to her like that, as though they truly understood the weight she carried. And yet, the weight seemed lighter in his presence. The music from inside shifted to a slower, more intimate melody. Marcus extended his hand, a simple gesture, but it held a world of unspoken reassurance. Serena hesitated, then placed her hand in his. They moved onto the dance floor, and something magical happened. For the first time, Marcus forgot about the gala, about the roles they were playing. He forgot about the pressures of being a single dad just for a moment. He focused entirely on Serena. The tremor in her fingers, the way her eyes searched his, silently questioning if she could trust anyone again. They swayed in rhythm with the music, the crowd around them fading into a blur. Serena's voice, usually so controlled and commanding, softened. "You're not pretending," she murmured. "I didn't think anyone could see through all of this." Marcus smiled faintly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I don't pretend," he said. "Life doesn't give me the luxury of masks. I just try to be kind, to be honest, and to make sure the people I care about feel safe. That's it." Serena's chest tightened, the words settling over her like a warm blanket she hadn't realized she missed. And then, as the song drew to a close, she realized she hadn't felt this alive, this understood, in years. Outside, the city lights twinkled like a million little sparks of hope. Inside, they laughed softly, a shared moment that was utterly their own. But life, as always, had its complications. Serena's assistant appeared at the edge of the room, whispering about an urgent board meeting that couldn't be postponed. She sighed, knowing she had to leave. Marcus held her hand, steady and grounding. "You have to go," he said, "but know this. Tonight wasn't just a role for me. You didn't just need someone to pretend. You needed someone who'd see you, and I hope I did." Serena's eyes glistened with tears, the first she had shed in public in years. "You did more than see me," she whispered. "You reminded me that I can trust again, that there are still people out there. Good people." Before they parted, Marcus leaned close, his voice calm but resonant. "Just remember, you don't need masks. And neither do I." The rest of the night blurred. They said their goodbyes with a quiet understanding that some connections defy circumstance, that some moments linger far beyond the walls in which they occur. Serena returned to her world of high-stakes meetings and corporate pressures, but something in her had shifted. And Marcus? He returned home to Aden, carrying a quiet, unexpected joy, the kind that comes from being seen, truly seen by someone who understands. Days later, Marcus found a small envelope slipped under his apartment door. Inside was a simple note in Serena's elegant handwriting. "For tonight, thank you for being real. The world may never know, but I do." Fifth Marcus smiled, feeling an unfamiliar lightness in his chest. That night had been more than a dance. It had been a reminder that even in lives filled with struggle, there is space for connection, for courage, and for moments that can change everything. Before we close, if this story touched your heart and reminded you of the power of genuine kindness and second chances, please engage with the video. Like, comment, and share your thoughts. Your support helps keep stories like this alive on Touch of Kindness. And a small request: dedicate a moment in your day-to-day to someone who needs to be seen, someone who needs a reminder that they matter. Even the smallest act can ripple in ways we can't imagine. As the sun rose again, casting gold across the city, Marcus tucked Aden into bed, smiled at the soft, peaceful breathing of his son, and felt a quiet certainty. Life, unpredictable and messy, sometimes delivers beauty exactly where you least expect it. The city moved on, as did they, but for Marcus and Serena one night, one extraordinary act of courage